Hello, I'm Gabe Ortiz, and this is WEDU Arts Plus. The art of flamenco began in Spain over 200 years ago. The Somos Flamenco Company here in Tampa shows us how this classical and vibrant art form provides an enduring musical and visual experience through unique elements of dance, song, and instrumentation. Join the Somos Flamenco Company as they offer their interpretation.
I was introduced to flamenco music as a child. I had seen a program on television and fell in love with it. I didn't know what it was, but I found the dancers to be very powerful and beautiful. I thought the rhythms were really interesting, and as a kid, I just wanted to know more about it.
I was actually at school, right, back in Cuba. And they have like bands, like school bands, where you play some like basic rhythms and like march and stuff. So I kind of like I was already integrated to one of these bands as a kid. And eventually one of my neighbors, she had a big company of musicians and dancers. And they wanted to train someone to play actual flamenco.
So at the time, I was living in New York and found adult enrichment classes in flamenco at Ballet Hispánico of New York. When we moved here, I started taking classes with Cura Alba, who has been part of the flamenco scene here in Tampa for over 40 years. I also started taking lessons with her daughter Sandra, who is a part of our group.
I was introduced to flamenco as a child. Both of my parents were involved in flamenco. They moved to Tampa to perform at the Columbia restaurant. My mom's a flamenco dancer, and my father was a flamenco guitarist.
I'd gone to Spain with a buddy of mine who we studied together, classical guitar together. And when I had come back, my guitar teacher, Dr. Switzer, encouraged me to accompany some dance. And at the time, he had run a school here in Tampa, and it happened to be Sandra's mother, Cura Alba.
I grew up in Tampa, and a gentleman by the name of Thomas Coffey was my first teacher and gave me a great foundation. When I was ready for college, Dr. Switzer, Mark Switzer, found me in high school, and I studied at Florida Southern with him. From there, I did my master's work at Manhattan School of Music in New York City. For me, flamenco was kind of a completion of my education in music. In classical guitar, you get all the theory, you get the history, you get the technique, you get the expression, you learn all the beautiful details of music. What very often is lost in that, however, is the soul and the spirit of the music, and flamenco did that for me.
I knew someone that was actually Miguel Chavez back in Cuba, and he's a flamenco singer that does the cante hondo. It's a very special type of singing. It's part of the basics of flamenco, right? That was how I really started loving the flamenco, as trying to understand what was going on the singing part of it, which is, I believe, the root of flamenco.
The music for me is something that keeps drawing me back in. You know, I've been dancing flamenco over 30 years, so, you know, sometimes, you know, you go away from it a little bit. I moved out of state for like 5 years, so I was very distant from it, being in the Midwest where it's not too, you know, popular. But it just kind of, there's something to it that just draws you back in.
There's a rhythm in bulerías, for example. Bulerías is one of the core forms for flamenco that is 12 beats. And how do you play those 12 beats? There's so many different wonderful ways to play those 12 beats. It's just fascinating. And incorporating those kinds of rhythms and layers of rhythms into the melody and the harmony and the bass that I was already learning how to do, that was fascinating for me. So for me, flamenco is kind of a completion of not just my education, but my musical expression.
To learn more, visit facebook.com/SomosFlamencoCompany.